What is up today, YouTube? I am back with another video, and today I'm going to be starting a new video series. Now this video series is going to revolve around the history of Street Fighter 4 and how some of the characters were changed and adjusted throughout the game's life cycle. Now the goal of the video is to kind of get you familiar with the character. For those of you who are like new to Street Fighter 5 or didn't have or like came late to Street Fighter 4, you'll be able to kind of experience what they were like. Well, not really experience, I'm just going to tell you. But you'll be able to know what the characters were like in the past and how they kind of changed over time. At the time of this recording, I don't really know what I'm going to be calling the series. I'm probably just going to be calling it the patch history of and whatever character I choose. So let's get started. I'm going to start off by showing you guys Sagat's normals on the screen. Now if you didn't know, Sagat was known for being very OP in Street Fighter 4 because he had a lot of high damage on his normals and easy conversions, and his ultra combo did a lot of damage. So just kind of like a powerhouse of a character overall. Plus on top of that, Sagat is already a well-rounded character anyway, so if you put all that together, it kind of can get really annoying. He's mostly a keep out character using high and low tiger shots to keep his opponent out, and then using tiger knee if they get too close. In addition to that, he had great anti-airs in the form of standing heavy kick, forward heavy kick, and tiger uppercut. So at the end of the day, he was just really tough to get in on. Now getting started with the changes to Sagat's normals, you're going to notice that the standing light kick is no longer special move cancelable from far distances, and that it does 2 hits. It used to do 40 up close and 50 from afar, and now the first hit does 30 and the second hit does 10, which is a nerf. You also can't special move cancel off the second hit. His far standing medium kick now does 80, down from 100 in the original version of Street Fighter 4. Stand heavy kick now does 80 on the first hit but only 40 on the second hit, which is a big nerf in damage, considering that in Street Fighter 4, the first hit did 40 and the second hit did 110. That means it was 150 damage if you landed the whole kick. Sagat's standing medium punch does 85 up close and 90 from afar. In Street Fighter 4 it used to do 100 up close and 100 from afar. Stand heavy punch is now down 120 from 140. Crouching medium punch now does 70 and it used to do 90. Crouching heavy punch now only does 110 from 130. Crouching medium kick now only does 65 when it used to do 90. Crouching heavy kick is now down 30 points, going from 130 to 100. Forward jump heavy punch now does 120 from 140. And forward heavy kick, also known as high step kick, goes from 140 to just 100 points of damage. That's 40 points of damage lost. Heading over to Street Fighter Arcade Edition, the standing light kick actually received a buff, which is good. The first hit does 20 damage while the second hit now does 30 damage. But the damage overall is increased to 50 if you land the whole kick. In Arcade Edition 2012, the damage to Sagat's normals have not been changed or adjusted. In Ultra Street Fighter 4, the damage to high step kick was reduced to 80, down from 100. Standing light kick also received another buff. You can now cancel off the second hit provided you're not too far away. This kinda acts more as a hit confirm now. In the original Street Fighter 4, Sagat couldn't cancel the first hit as standing heavy kick into special moves. But now in the Super version of Street Fighter 4, he can cancel his standing heavy kick on the first hit, provided you're not too far away. This greatly increased his combo potential. Now giving you some more insight on Sagat's unique attacks, he had the forward heavy kick. This was one of the best anti-air attacks in the whole game, because this thing in the worst situations would only trade, which would allow him to combo into all his special moves or even the ultra. He could even do a second forward heavy kick if you were fast enough, which most of the time people were. Moving on to low step kick or forward light kick. This attack is really great for Sagat. It's one of his best attacks actually. It lets him card cancel into focus attacks, into special moves, and you can combo a crouching light punch afterwards, which made it an excellent neutral tool. His forward heavy punch was just an overhead, not much to talk about with that. And lastly, he had a fake kick. It was done by pressing the heavy kick button really fast. It's not really useful, don't use it, don't pay attention to it. Moving over to Sagat's special moves now, we're going to start off with Tiger Knee. Tiger Knee is known for its far horizontal movement and long active frames. You can control the distance Sagat travels based on the strength of the button you use. It's also a 2-hitting attack in the Street Fighter 4 series, I think in almost every game. I haven't played all the old ones, or I don't remember them anyway. Generally the rule is if you hit with the second hit of the Tiger Knee and the opponent's blocking, you're safe. Now keep in mind that you have to space out the Tiger Knee block strings, you can't just throw it out and expect to be safe. So starting with the vanilla version of Street Fighter 4, the light Tiger Knee did 30 damage on the first hit, 90 on the second hit, and 120 altogether. The medium version did 40 on the first hit, 100 on the second hit, and 140 altogether. The heavy kick version did 50 on the first hit, 110 on the second hit, and 160 altogether. The EX version did 100 on the first hit, 40 on the second hit, 40 on the third hit, and 180 altogether. So what you're going to notice is, the second hit generally did more damage than the first hit. It did a lot more damage actually. And this was really good for Sagat considering that's like a get off me move, it's like a stay out move. So the second hit is what you're aiming for, plus the second hit was safe on block. So heading over to Super Street Fighter 4, they swapped the damage of the first and second hit. This is actually a nerf to Sagat because of what I just explained earlier. This applied to all the Tiger Knees except the EX version. The EX version remained the same. The damage of the move didn't change throughout Arcade Edition 2012, or Ultra Street Fighter 4. But what they did do in Ultra Street Fighter 4 was make it so that the first hit of Tiger Knee forces stand. Now this was actually pretty good for Sagat players, so they can get the most damage off a Tiger Knee, and I mainly mean the heavy version. During certain combos, Tiger Knee would actually whiff on the second hit, and Sagat could be punished for it. Now for me just messing around in the training room, I noticed that the medium version never really whiffed, even on crouching opponents. It would kind of have a delay for the second hit, but it would never actually fully whiff. So I'm guessing this buff was just for mainly the heavy version of the move. Or maybe so you can get better Oki after the knockdown, I don't know. That's all on Tiger Knee. Now we're going to transition to Tiger Shot. Starting off with the damage in the vanilla version of Street Fighter 4, the low and high Tiger Shot did the same damage, which was 70. The EX one was 2 hitting and did 150 damage. The first hit did 80 and the second hit did 70. In Super Street Fighter 4, the damage was nerfed. The high Tiger Shot now did 65 while the low Tiger Shot did 60. The EX Tiger Shot now only does 120 damage, the first hit doing 70 and the second hit doing 50. In the Arcade Edition all the way through Ultra, the damage of the Tiger Shot did not change. However, some of the properties did. So in Ultra Street Fighter 4, they gave Sagat's Tiger Shot another nerf. They increased the recovery frames of Tiger Shot from 39 to 42, and at this point Sagat was struggling quite a bit. Now this may seem small guys, but it's actually a pretty big nerf, cause Sagat is Tiger Shot, so nerfing that definitely hurt the character. They also adjusted high Tiger Shot so that you couldn't hit crouching opponents like Hugo with it. However, you can still use it as a meaty. So that pretty much wraps it up for this move. We're going to be moving on to Sagat's more famous move, the Tiger Uppercut. We're covering Angry Scar with Tiger Uppercut because they work together. Alright, so Tiger Uppercut damage and juggle properties could fluctuate quite a lot depending on if you had Angry Scar activated or if your opponent was airborne. Now I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the rule is if you don't hit on the first or second frame, the damage will be different. Now starting with vanilla Street Fighter 4, the light uppercut did 140, the medium one did 150, the heavy one did 170, and the EX one did 200 damage. Now if the opponent was airborne, all the uppercuts did 80 except the EX version. And the EX version changed depending on the number of hits you get. Now in Super Street Fighter 4, the damage was greatly nerfed. All of them do 100 damage now except the EX version, which stayed at 200 damage. And if you hit the opponent while they were airborne, the light punch version did 130, the medium punch version did 140, and the heavy punch version did 160. And just so I don't have to mention it again, the airborne damage stays that way throughout AE and Ultra. Sagat, however, was given a new special move in Super Street Fighter 4, known as Angry Scar. Now Angry Scar took up 1 EX meter to use, but it gave your uppercut better damage and different juggle properties. For example, this combo I'm showing you on the screen right now would only work if you had Angry Scar activated.
Tiger Knee! Tiger Uppercut! Tiger Knee! Tiger Uppercut!
And there are also a couple other unique situations in which you can juggle in the Ultra off of Angry Scar, but I'm not here to show you all the Angry Scar juggles. Now the damage with Angry Scar was 140 for the light punch, 160 for the medium punch, 180 for the heavy punch, and 240 for the EX version. Keep in mind Angry Scar isn't affected by the airborne rule, so it'll do the same damage no matter what. In Street Fighter AE, Tiger Uppercuts now did 120 damage, and the damage to Angry Scar Uppercuts was not adjusted. However, the inputs were changed to double quarter circle backwards with kicks, and I believe this was due to input overlap. Moving into AE 2012, the damage of his normal uppercuts and EX uppercuts stayed the same. However, when Angry Scar was activated, all his uppercuts received a 10-point boost in damage besides the heavy punch version, which remained at 180. So the light was now 150, the medium 170, and the EX version 250. No changes were made to Sagat's Tiger Uppercut in Ultra Street Fighter 4. So it was pretty typical for Sagat's Tiger Uppercut to trade, and this was a very good thing for the character since once it traded, he can confirm into another high step kick, or into an Ultra, which would then lead into half your health gone. Now this was a big problem considering that you need to jump over Sagat's fireball sometimes to get in. So, as you can see on the screen, the damage of this sequence was just way too high and way too overpowered, and personally I think it had to be adjusted. So in Super Street Fighter 4, they made it so that Sagat's Tiger Uppercut on trade would put him in an airborne recovery state. This didn't really help much though, because you could still follow up with a forward heavy kick afterwards. Lastly, we're going to be covering Sagat's Ultra and Super. We're going to be covering this quite fast because there's not a lot to talk about when it comes to this. So starting off with Sagat's Super, the Tiger Genocide. From what I heard, the Tiger Genocide is not that good of an attack, honestly. There's way better uses for your meter, such as EX focus cancels, Angry Scar charges, and just EX moves in general, so you just kind of want to save that meter. Talking about the raw damage output of the Super, it was 350 throughout the whole game. One cool thing about the Super though is that when you were in the corner, you could juggle it into your Ultra.
Tiger!
And that's pretty much covering the Super. Now I'm going to move on to Ultra 1, the Tiger Destruction. This Ultra was easily Sagat's more preferred Ultra throughout the whole game. It was easy to combo into, easy conversions, good damage, good juggle properties. Just everything about it was good to go. You would want to switch to the second one with certain matchups, but this is the one you want to go to most of the time. In the original Street Fighter 4, the raw Ultra did 583 points of damage, and 450 points of damage if your opponent was airborne. In Super, however, the Ultra was nerfed by 83 points, leaving it to do 500 points of damage on the ground. And on airborne opponents, it was left to do 395. The damage of this move stayed this way until Ultra, and the only reason the damage changed in Ultra was because it had a property change. The change was so that when you comboed into your Ultra in the corner, you would no longer get stuck in the corner afterwards, because it wouldn't switch sides. This made it a little easier on Sagat, so you wouldn't have to fight your way out of the corner every time you did your Ultra. But in exchange for this buff, Capcom reduced the damage on airborne opponents to 340, meaning that if you juggled into this, the damage would not be as high. Moving on to Sagat's second Ultra, the Tiger Cannon. This move wasn't added until Super Street Fighter 4, and it is Sagat's projectile-based Ultra attack. The move did 384 damage on grounded and airborne opponents. Now when it comes down to these Ultras, we already discussed Ultra 1 was more used. Ultra 2 rarely got any play in matches, just because Ultra 1 did more damage. They could kind of be used in the same way, but the damage output decided it all. There are some matchups where Sagat might use the Tiger Cannon Ultra over the Tiger Destruction, but it's very rare. Now if you had good enough reactions, you could probably use this move to go through people's normal fireballs, or you could use it to combo off of an EX fireball in the corner. But besides that, the move didn't receive any changes until Ultra Street Fighter 4. The damage of the move was adjusted to 357 on grounded opponents and 303 on airborne opponents, and now all the hits of the Ultra connect. Now this made it so that comboing into your Ultra 2 would be a little more rewarding, but using your Ultra on pure reaction to get past the fireball or something would be a little bit less rewarding. And just like that, we have covered Sagat. I might have missed a couple things like small frame adjustments or hitbox changes, but you guys can let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you disliked the video, dislike it. Just make sure you rate the video, guys. Also, I'm going to be making more of these videos based off the response I get. So if you guys want me to cover like Sakura or something, make sure you leave a lot of likes. And with that, I'm signing out.